Uh, Before starting the session, participants are requested to drop their questions at the end of the session in the chat box. I start with the Upanishad quote: "As is your wish, so is your will. As is your will, so is your deed. As is your deed, so is your desire. And your deepest desire is your destiny." With this quote, we're fortunate to have the speaker, Professor Arvind Tiwari, with us. He is a Dean, School of Law, Rights and Constitutional Governance, Tata Institute of Social Science, Mumbai. Professor Arvind Tiwari is a well-known criminologist and a scholar in criminal justice and forensic science, human rights, police studies and public security, criminal law and access to justice, victimology, youth justice and crime and developments. He completed his Bachelor of Arts, MA in Gold Medalist and PhD in Criminology and Forensic Science at Dr. Hari Singh Gaur Central University, Sagar, Madhya Pradesh. He has published several articles in peer-reviewed journals and chapters in edited books. He has engaged in many public policy research projects in the area of access to justice, fellowship project at Tata Trust and TIS Institute. He has given over 100 conference presentations such as presidential address, keynote address, special address, and chaired sessions. He has supervised several successful PhD, MPhil, and master students and published several research papers in peer-reviewed journals in the span of more than 25 years of career. Presently, he is a Dean, School of Law, Rights and Constitutional Governance since 2015 and Chairperson, Center for Police Studies and Public Security at this institute. Previously, he also served as a Dean, Office of Student Affairs, Chairperson, Nodal Center of Excellence for Human Rights Educations, and Coordinator, Central for Social, Legal Studies and Human Rights, School of Social Science at TIS. He is a recipient of Kumarappa Reckless Awards, the highest award in the field of criminology in India, for his significant contribution in the growth of criminology in India by the Indian Society of Criminology. He was also conferred Fellow and Dr. B.S. Haikarwal and Professor Sushil Chandra Award for the Senior Social Scientist to the Senior Social Scientist for his contribution to criminology in the broad field of social science. He has also conferred Human Rights Millennium and Human Rights Promotion Awards by the Indian Institute of Human Rights, New Delhi, for outstanding contribution in the field of human rights, and Professor L.P. Vidyarthi Award for the Best Social Scientist by Indian Social Science Associations. With these words, I hand over session to Sir. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Dinesh Kamble, respected Gautam sir, colleagues from Sagar University departments, alumni of Sagar University departments, Dr. Anupama, Dr. Swati, and esteemed participants. It is a pleasure when I heard from Dr. Swati that the university is planning to organize one FDP, and she was discussing, and I said, oh, this would be my pleasure and a good opportunity for me to talk to you. So thank you very much, Gautam sir, Swati, for giving me this opportunity. And dear participants, the idea of my session, because of a paucity of time, as I said, that I have to leave after 1 hour, around 12:40 or so, 12:30, 40. I have prepared a good presentation which I'll mail to her. But first, let me start. What is correctional justice? The topic is correctional justice. Now, what is correction? If we'll see, we know that the prisons, we have the two broad kind of correctional system in our country. I'll show the PPT later. And like one is the juvenile justice system, which is also part of the correctional system. But here we'll be more discussing on the adult correctional system. So correctional system is divided in broadly two parts: juvenile justice and the adult correctional system. Now, what is correction? You know, when the person is committing crime, the commitment of crime, if you go to the causative factors of crime, There are several theories of crime acquisition. Now, if you will see the scenario of crime and see the crime data in crime in India, and also see the debates in the TV debates or the newspaper reports, you will see that the different kind of scenario is there regarding the crime. One, the traditional kind of crime. Crime against women, crime against children, crime against scheduled castes, crime against scheduled tribes, senior citizens, and the economic kind of crime, which are normal kind of crime or cyber. But another crime is also, if you will see, the development-induced crime, mafias, or the crime which are white collar in nature, and the organized kind of crime, human trafficking, drug trafficking, armed trafficking. So crime and criminals, because correction, when we say, the idea is that there are many, like in our country, in India, we have around 6 lakh plus prisoners in around 1,400 prisons across the country. We have prison system of 3-4 kind of broad categories we can classify. One is the central prison. Central prison means the big prisons where the prisoners, particularly the long-termers, are kept in those jails, and there are various kind of programs which are being offered to them relating to correction, vocational education, good cultural programs, and also the mental health program, recreational programs. So central jails are in the big area, and they have the variety of activities which are called the correctional. Now, what is correction? Now, I'll put you on PPT also, so this will help you to. Oh, host disabled participant screen share. Can you allow me screen share, Swati?
Yes,
I'm not able to share.
yes, sir. Malviya, sir?
Yes, madam.
Yes, सर को आप बनाइए को होस्ट, अरविंद जी को, अरविंद सर को.
Yes, madam.
Sir, now you can share.
Okay. Just a minute. Just yeah. Can you see the PPT?
Not now, sir.
Not now?
Yes, sir.
Oh, just a minute. I think this reader is now, is it
Yeah, अभी भी आया.
Yes, sir. Yes,
अब आ रहा है,
sir.
अब आ रहा है.
Now
visible?
it is.
अब आया तिवारी साहब.
Ajit.
Yes, sir.
So, you know, when we say correctional justice, correction means what? In the broader sense, it is because, as I was telling you, that the crime, there are several positive factors for crime. By birth, like we have earlier theory in criminology, that the criminals are born, Lombrosian theory, which was called the biological theory, which is not a fact. Nobody is born as a criminal. But there are some criminogenic factors which are making the person as a criminal. But as I said you earlier, also that the current changing scenario, if you will see that the crime position is also, some people are not committing crime because of the need, but because of the greed they are committing crime. See the whole lot of white collar criminals organized criminals. This economic criminals, those who are committing economic crimes, cyber crimes, particularly cyber economic crimes, siphoning all the money from the accounts and all this. So a terrorist, the Naxalite, those who are motivated to commit crime because of their ideology. So barring few of these categories, I will tell you very safely around 80%, very safely, roughly, 80% of the people, those who have committed crime, either they are under trial or the convicted prisoners, they have potential to be reformed, to be rehabilitated, to be corrected. Now, what to be corrected? What is correction? Correction means because of some maladjustment, the person has committed the crime. You know, like we in our life also, we find sometimes very, very adverse kind of situation. Some of us can adjust with those adverse situations, but some of us are not able to adjust with those kind of adverse criminogenic situations. And people do commit crime. So for those who have not committed crime and those who are not the habitual offenders, the correction means how to reshape and educate them and give them a second opportunity while engaging them with the various kind of vocational training, various kind of cultural programs. Prison, I'll tell you, friends, I don't know how many of you have seen the prison. I have seen around 70, 80 prisons in the country. Okay. All Tihar jail to several prisons, and Yarwada also here in Maharashtra, and many more. And you know, when you go to the jail, inside the jail, as a visitor, I'll advise you go as a visitor if you want to go, or as a researcher. Don't have the participant kind of observation in the prison. So when you are going to the jail as a researcher, you will find the prison is also having the same kind of characteristics, same kind of problem, same kind of environment as we are having outside the society. In prison also you will find all kind of characteristics. Discrimination is also there, exploitation is also there, and you know the prison subculture is also there, very different. So the whole idea is that the people, those who have committed crime, because many of them, I'll tell you, those who have committed crime through criminogenic situation, because they have not planned and they have committed crime. I did a PhD on around 400 people, prisoners, those who had committed murder. And they were convicted for the life sentence. And they were lodged in the open prisons. You may have heard about open jail. I'll tell you there are 4 categories of jail. One is the central jail, which are the bigger jail. Central they are called because earlier the prison administration was under the central government. But after 1935, Government of India Act was enacted by the then British rulers. And the prison as a subject was transferred to the provincial governments, state governments. So since then, the prisons are under the state subject. As you know, the police, prisons, and justice delivery system is the part of the law and order, is the part of the state list. So central jail means big jail where all kind of correctional programs are there, all kind of variety of activities are there. Second is the district jail. At district level, you will find, and you know these are not so big as the central.
Excuse
jail.
me, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, slides are not moving.
Yeah. No, I'm not deliberately moving this slide.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Because the slide just I'm going to show the party. I don't show generally the slides. I send
Yes,
the
sir.
participants. Because
Okay,
many
sir.
times when the slides are there, people are just looking the slides
Focusing
and they
on
are
the
not
slide.
listening.
Yes, sir.
They are not listening.
Yes, sir.
I'll come a little later, sir.
Okay,
No
okay.
Okay. So you know that the central jail which we are having, central jail, you know, then district jail, and then finally, if you will come, then you will have the. Is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Stop. Oh, sorry. I think some problem. Just Yes. Is it there now on the screen?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So you know that central jail, district jail, then there are sub jails which are at the tehsil level or taluka level, then open jail. In some state, there are also women prisons, exclusively for women prisoners. So likewise, these are the prisons. So the whole idea of correctional system is that since people are not born as a criminal, earlier that theory was there, but after 1920, one jail committee was set up by the then British rulers, Indian Jails Committee. First time in the country, 100 years back, this committee has said that the purpose of imprisonment or sentence is reformation and rehabilitation of the offenders. Prior to that, this concept was not there. The philosophy was that those who have committed crime, they were considered the enemy of the society, and brutally they were giving the punishment. So since last 100 years, the philosophy has changed, because you know that prisoners, those who are committing crime, it is not that many of them are committing crime because of their choice. Although some, like mafias, as I said, you the organized criminals, etc., they may have that kind of thing. So the whole idea of correction and correctional justice is that how to identify the potential offenders, which is above 80%, and prepare them to reform their habits, which were resulted into criminal activity, and how we can mold their attitude in such a manner so that after a certain period of spending in the prison, they can, when they are being released from the jail, they can be settled, rehabilitated, and reintegrated in the society as a normal citizen. You know, the social perception towards criminal is still not very good in the society. When we employ someone as a driver or as a domestic servant, etc., or any for any other work, who has been in the prison for around a few years or few months, can we do this, participants, easily? कोई आता है हमारे पास, कहता है कि भाई मैं 5 साल जेल काट के आया हूँ क्योंकि मैंने कुछ क्राइम किया था, and now I am fully reformed. Can you give me some job? Can we easily offer that job to them? Abhi bhi nahi. We will not, because we feel that, oh, criminal. Although many white collar criminals are roaming around us, those who are the bigger criminals and dangerous criminals, they are not in the jails. You know, around 70% people, those who are from the vulnerable section of the society, from scheduled castes, from minorities, who are people, they are getting prisons. Those who are resourceful, they are getting bail. Those who are not resourceful, they are getting jail. So, you know, so correction is that for potential offender, how can we train them in such a manner so they can lead a good social life once they are released from the jail? There are various kind of activities, correctional activities. Correctional means vocational education. If you will visit the big jail, like Indore, also Bhopal Central Jail in Madhya Pradesh, if you will see Jabalpur, several good training is being given to them, and they are then finally reforming themselves. And I'll tell you the recidivism rate. What a recidivism means, the person who is committing crime again and again, the habitual offenders, and one has been convicted twice by the court of law for committing any crime. They are called the recidivist. So recidivism in our country, in comparison to the other countries of the world, is very, very low. So it is not that the criminals, those who are in the jail, they do not have potential for reformation and rehabilitation. Now, institutional and non-institutional correction is of two kinds. If you will see like in our country, we do not have the sentencing policy. Sentencing policy, if you will see the IPC or the other special laws, some definition is there given for the crime, and the punishment, there is a range that from 7 years to the life sentence, or from 3 years to the 7 years. That is the discretion of the judge, the magistrate, to decide the quantum of punishment according to the fact of the case. And not only that, once the person is being convicted by the court, for example, life sentence, when the person is sent to the jail after 14 years of actual imprisonment, when the 14 years, the person will spend 14 years in the jail. Actual means remission. You may be listening several news pertaining to the remission or Vilkiswano case. That the offenders, those who were convicted, they are released from the jail. Remission means the whole idea of correction is that the prison authority should be given an opportunity so that if they are seeing that the prisoner's behavior is improving, they can give little reduction in the sentence. Remission is reduction in the sentence, not in the actual. But like if somebody is convicted for a life sentence, generally for life sentence, we calculate 20 years in general. There are different kind of parameters also. So that means that the person who has spent actually 14 years, and then if they are doing good work, good horticulture work, good agriculture work, vocational training, remission is given. They have a history ticket, which is called, like the record. For each prisoner, there is a file which is called history ticket. So that entry is being made कि भाई इन्होंने आज बागवानी का बढ़िया काम किया, 1 हफ्ते की सजा में छूट, हिंदी में बोलते, means remission. So this is being calculated, and this is also this is the discretion of the jail authorities. Otherwise, no purpose of the correction. So we have 2 types of correction. One is the institutional correction. What is institution? Means prisons, which I told you. Central jails, district jail, sub jail, open jail, and as well as the women prison, etc. Another is the non-institutional. Have you heard, any one of you heard about probation? Suna hai kisi ne? I want little interactive session also. Participants, you can open your camera, you can speak also. Or you can say in the end, but I want to get participation if you are willing to. Have you heard probation? Say yes or no. If no, then I'll explain you. If yes, what is that? Probation means, anybody would like to speak? Please speak. Okay. Probation means everybody, like all kind of criminals, pickpocket, for example, or somebody has committed the first time crime, which is not heinous crime, minor kind of crime. Why everybody should be sent to the jail? Do you think that every violator of the law should be a traffic violator? Is there any purpose to sending these kind of people to the jail? What do you feel, participants? Yes or no? Should we send each violator of the law to the jail? Yes? No. Because the purpose of prison is not that. Because, therefore the prisons are crowded. Like pickpocket. अगर आप एक जेब कतरे को जेल में भेजते हैं, क्या करेगा वो? Sometimes the prisons are called the institution where the criminals are graduating, post-graduating, and doing PhD in crime. Because criminal gangs are there and they are having specialization in crime, informal. So therefore, probation is after the conviction, the person is not being sent to the jail. Rather, the person is sent back to the society under the supervision of probation officer. This is applicable to both adult as well as juvenile offenders. Whole idea is that they should be given an opportunity under supervision to improve their behavior. Parole, you may have heard. Parole is like the basic difference in probation and parole. Probation after the conviction from the court of law. The offender will not be sent to the jail. Rather, the offender will send back to the jail, society under the supervision of the probation officer. Parole means after spending half or more of the sentence in the jail with the good conduct on certain occasion, which is called home leave, ticket on leave, furlough, different names are there of parole. Means the prisoner, those who are already convicted, they can be released for a certain period after getting approval from their concerning police station and from the other mechanism, and they are going there and they are coming back. You may have heard during COVID time, several prisoners were released from the jail because of this court's problem, and now some of them did not come back even. So parole means is this where the you see the prisoner are sent, they are getting on home leave or something like this, and they are coming back. Maybe somebody died in the family or marriage or some important. So that's the there are the two kind of correction: institutional and non-institutional. So the whole idea of correction, I will just rush through because several slides are there. This I'll send to you. So the whole idea of the correction is that we should give an opportunity through various kind of activities in the prison, so that the person who has committed crime could improve his or her behavior and prepare himself or herself to get settled down in the society after the release. Now, present in the criminal justice system, if you will see. Criminal justice system, if you will see, consists of 4 components. 1, police. If any crime is being committed, any violation of law is being done, then the first agency, generally, there are several specialized agencies like CBI, central agencies, IB, NIA, and others. But generally is the police, which is the assembly. The next is the prosecution. Prosecution has its role to prove the guilt of the accused beyond the reasonable doubt in the court of law, on the basis of the forensic evidences or on the basis of the witness statement or victim's statement. So the whole role of forensic science, I'm sure that we'll be having some sessions on the application of forensic science or forensic evidences in the criminal justice system, very important area. So this is the present comes police, prosecution, judicial, and finally the prisons, which are also called the correctional institution. And therefore prison comes in the least priority of the government. Because many times there is a debate. If you will see the prisoners' rights, during last 40 years, 70s onwards, Hussain Ara Khatun case, there are several paths between judgment related prisoners' rights and accept the right which they cannot move out beyond the 4 walls of the jails. They do not have voting rights. Otherwise, all rights which we have as a normal kind of human being in the society, those who are not in the jail, the same rights the prisoners do also. So human rights, when we say, is that once a person is sent to the jail, it is not that the person is just discarded from the society. The person is taken away from the society. Because if you see the theory of punishment, then retribution, incapacitation, rehabilitation, reformation. So reformation and rehabilitation and deterrence. These are the theories which are being now presently promoted. Like deterrence means to deter the person to commit future, so that they are being deterred in the jail and they are being given training. Now, legal framework, if you see the prison administration, several IPC, Prisoners Act, Prisons Act, several acts are there. Very recently, you may have seen the Criminal Procedure Identification Act 2022, where not only the fingerprint, but also the biological samples of the prisoners and the accused, those who are accused for heinous crime, would be collected by the law enforcement agency. And a lot of real prizes there that this can be, data can be misused. Now, several jails committees have been set up during the last 100 years, I see, and particularly after independence, 75 years. Participants, would you like to say something, or in the end you will pose some question? In the end you want to come in, or in between, if you want, you can also ask. So this is your choice. Okay. If somebody is willing to ask something, please ask. So several jail committees have been set up. Okay. And now after, particularly as I told you, the first committee, even some jail committee was set up under the British regime, like Lord Macaulay, who is considered the modern architect of our law, IPC and others, in 1836. And this committee has also criticized the prison, like corruption, unhealthy living condition, indiscipline in jail, extramural employment for prisoners. What is extramural? Means the prisoners then were taken out from the jail, and they were supposed to work for the like construction of dam, construction of road, etc. And they were not getting remuneration. No remuneration was given to them. So then, these they were being exploited too much. So this committee recommended that the rigor of treatment and advocated the building of central jail. So after 1836, several central jails were set up, and the idea was that the prison should be central jail should be set up, which would have some kind of vocational education program to them. So rather than sending them outside to work with the very difficult situation, they should be also given opportunity to work inside the jail with some kind of facilities. And then since then, several kind of committees were set up. 1920 Indian Jails Committee. As I told you, this is the foundation. This is the committee which has laid the foundation in India for correction. And two-term reformation and rehabilitation of prisoners were incorporated after this committee's recommendation. Otherwise, earlier the purpose of prison was not to reform and rehabilitate the person, to prepare for rehabilitation. So the biggest and the whole other kind of institution was set up by the government after the recommendation of this committee. So then, after, as I told you, after 1935 Government of India Act, the prisons were subject was transferred to the state governments. And then several institutes were set up, the NIST now, and then prison manuals are there, which are describing the whole kind of routine, how the prison should function, what kind of variety of programs will be there. You may have heard about one committee, emergency. Have you heard? Some of you, emergency लगी थी country में, सुना है आप लोगों ने? Participant, बोलो भाई, नहीं तो ऐसा लगता है कि I am just speaking whether you are listening or not. Emergency आपने सुना है word? Was imposed in our country.
Participant may raise the hand.
Raise the hand, open your camera.
So they cannot open their camera because they are attendee, but we may allow them. If they raise the hand, then we
what
allow
I want.
yes.
Yeah, what I want that it should be interactive. Otherwise,
yes, sir. Yes,
one person is coming, speaking something and getting lost.
Yes.
I think that may not be the.
Yes.
आपने सुना या नहीं सुना ये तो बोल दो कम से कम, yes or no.
You may post in chat box also.
Okay.
So I will convey to Sardar.
Anyway, I think they can come in the end.
Yes, sir. Sir, they post yes. Anjali Bhargav.
So Anjali, in 1975,
yes.
when senior Gandhi, Mrs. Gandhi, Indira Gandhi was the Prime Minister, she has lost a petition in the Allahabad High Court, and then finally emergency was imposed. Emergency means all the civil rights were taken away. So police had the wide powers. And why I am mentioning you, this has impact on correctional system. This has impact on the criminal justice system. Police has arrested the opposition leaders. They were tortured and finally they were sent to the jails. उन्होंने कहा भाई police is very brutal in our country. We need police reforms. जब उनको जेल भेजा गया उन्होंने कहा अरे भाई ये जेलें तो बड़ी खराब है इंडिया में. After independence we could not reform the prison. The prison reform भी होना चाहिए. So the committee was set up. One was the Police Reform Commission and the Prison Reforms Committee, which is called the Mullah Committee, like the report on the All India Committee on Jail Reform. This is the path briefing report regarding the prison reforms in India. In instance, several recommendations are not being implemented, which were given by this report. Now, human rights perspective in prison. It's another huge area. We can talk hours together. As I said, the human rights are the basic. If you see the essence of human rights is these are incorporated in our constitution also. If you will see the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, and International Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights, you will find this combined three documents are considered the Bill of Rights. Means they are consolidating all rights relating to the human being. And the basic principle of this is that all human beings are equal. So they have dignity, respect. There should not be any discrimination on the basis of caste, gender, region, religion, or any kind of consideration. And equality and respect and dignity is the major concern, which is also reflected in our preamble of the Constitution and the fundamental rights of the Constitution. So, human rights are those. Human rights are not nothing like the new kind of things. Human rights is this. Our Constitution is guaranteeing this fundamental. Article 21. If you see Article 21, everything, right to life, everything is there, which is also applicable to prisoners, except they can move outside the jail. Article 40, equality before and equal protection of law. And Article 19, which guarantees reasonableness. So means all these are this concept of human rights in prison. The prisoners also have the same kind of rights as we have in the society, except their free movement and like right to bail you may have heard. Bail, right to bail is a right and jail is the exception. But many times the poor prisoners, those who are in the jail, they cannot afford the bail because bail is usually reflected on the basis of the economic criteria for that. So, like has now interpreted the rights of the prisoners in the jail. Then, if you see custodial violence and deaths in judicial custody. Judicial custody means prison. Police custody means when the person is being arrested, the person will be produced before the magistrate within 24 hours. And then the magistrate will decide if the accused is supposed to be suppose that accused is needed for further investigation, he or she can be remanded to the police custody, but for a limited time. And once that is over, the person is sent to the jail, which is called the judicial custody. So this is another area, custodial violence in judicial custody. So this is, you know that NHRC, State Human Rights Commissions, we have international protocols, declaration, and several court judgments where, this torture and deaths in police custody or judicial custody are being challenged. Many the prison officers have been even punished for that. So, like, it is not that we have no literature or thinking about custodial correctional justice. Several committees which have recommended several measures regarding how to streamline the prisons. But despite all these kind of recommendations, the prisons in our country are not come to the mark. There are some good examples. We are very good correctional program like Bihar model in Delhi is also a good model in each state. Like you will see in Madhya Pradesh, several good programs are there in the prisons, and prisoners are being trained in several kind of vocational education and several cultural programs. And prisoners, I'll tell you, the prison is having all kind of resources. In prison, you will find central jail. You will find all kind of prisoner. You will find professors also there. Professors, you will find bureaucrats also there. You will find engineers, doctors, those who are convicted or those who are under trial. Prison is a very resourceful kind of organization. If this is being properly used and their contribution is recognized, then this is very good for the country also. Like, that in Ramamurthy versus state of Karnataka, a lot of recommendations were given by the directions was given by the High Court, that several judgments are there. I cannot go to all judgments. Even for women prisoners and their children, those who are up to 6 years of age, the women prisoner can keep the child. Women prisoners and the women offenders are doubly punished. Once they are being caught in any crime, they are being discarded from society and family in many cases. And secondary, when they are coming to the jail, now if the child is small, or some women, if they are pregnant and they are being brought to the jail for some kind of crime or allegation, they are giving birth to the child inside the same hospital. So, the children also, there is a judgment that the children, for children, there should be all kind of facilities, the diet and the crutch should be set up in the prisons, etc. Some jails have done, and some jails are not have not done. So all those kind of rights, are applicable to them. During last 3-4 years, one judgment, which 8 orders are there, re-inhuman conditions in 1382 prisons. In this judgment, several overhauling directions have been given by the court. How to reform the prisoners, and each and every aspect, medical care in the prisons, how to manage under trial prisoners, vocational education in prisons, then how to manage the open prisons. Open prisons, if you will see, the whole idea of open jail is that the prisoners, those who have committed murder, I'll tell you, murder is not being committed through plan. Many times you will see the locality, rural areas or urban areas, people are fighting, and they will lose their control. And sometimes the purpose may not be to kill, but they will hit in such a manner that or they will brutally assault with not the intention of murder, but sometimes the person is being died. Now, so they are not the habitual offenders. So after spending of half of the sentence, state-wise variation is there in the books, they can be sent to the open jail. Open jail means just opposite to the closed jail. If you see the open jail, like balls we had Madhya Pradesh earlier, there was the open jail in Mugali and Lakshmipur in Panna district. But later on, these jails were created for the surrender dacoit in Chambal area and Belkand area. So the jails, like I don't know whether some of you can recall, there was a movie of V. Santaram, दो आंखें 12 हाथ. किसी ने सुना ये मूवी, देखा है? दो आंखें 12 हाथ. ये महाराष्ट्र का ही सांगली में एक जेल है, उस पर था. वो बरगद का पेड़ अभी भी आप देख सकते हैं वहां सांगली में, जब आप जाए आटपाड़ी, दैट इज ए प्लेस. 2 आंखें किसकी थी? जेलर की. वो 12 हाथ थे 6 कैदी कि जिनको फ्री कंडीशन में वहां रखा गया. And you know, even the national data is there. From open jail, there is a less escape incidences are happening in comparison to the closed jail. बिल्कुल आश्चर्य की बात लगती है. From closed jail, the prisoners are escaping more than the open jails. Because open jail, they are getting freedom. You know, freedom, dignity, and respect. Everybody wants, except some of these hardened criminals or the organized criminals. They are not being sent to such places. Only the persons, those who have a potential for rehabilitation, and they are getting better environment. They can have better opportunity for mulaqats. They can eat the food together with their family members. There is no restriction on mulaqat with their family members, etc. Several rules are relaxed, and also they are doing work there. Sanganer. Do we have any participant from Rajasthan here? Sanganer near Jaipur, very close to Jaipur airport. Sanganer is known for the printing के लिए bed sheets वगैरह साड़ी. Sanganer, there is a jail. Rajasthan has the highest number of open jail, where the prisoners, without watch and ward, they are going to work in the nearby town in Sanganer. They are working in various shops. They have their own shops, etc. And without any watch and ward, they come back to the prison, and escape rate is negligible, almost because they are allowed to stay with their families. Their parents are staying there, old parents, children, wife, they are there. So they are leading like the social life as they are leading in outside through the imprisonment. Whole idea is this, the correctional justice, that we can identify the prison population and let us see that how the prisoners can be given an opportunity on selective basis so they can. But the issues, if you will see, there are several issues. You may have heard about the legal aid to the under trial prisoners, particularly. Now, we have done NALSA Act, National Legal Services Authority Act. Then we have the National Service, State Service, Legal Service Authority, District Legal Service Authorities, which are supposed to extend the free legal aid to the under trial prisoners. So therefore, these lot of criticism is also there that good lawyers are not being impaneled in that, because you know nowadays as democracy is maturing, everybody is aspiring for the good job, or the education is so expensive. Like legal education is also so expensive that people are spending lakhs of rupees in education. So they feel कि भाई मैं ब्याज की वसूल करना है. And many times they are not joining pro bono kind of services. So the legal aid also is a serious concern, where the many times the good lawyers are not willing to work on pro bono basis. Several NGOs are also working in the correctional field. Like I had got opportunity in Delhi when Dr. Kiran Bedi was the IG there. And I was at that time in the NICFS, National Institute of Criminology and Forensic Science. I am talking early 90s, 90 to 95. And you know, that I have seen the transformation of jail by Dr. Bedi and her team. And you know, with the same prison rule manual, prison rules, prison act, she has said, she has written several books. One book is, it is possible, it is always possible. You will find that how within the same rules and regulations, she has opened the gate for the NGOs, those who want to work for the business rights. Then after 5 years working there, I came to the National Human Rights Commission. I worked there for 3 years as a senior research officer. And a lot of work was done during that time regarding the prison administration and prison consultations, and also the use of forensic tools, and a committee was set up with the then chief forensic scientist, Dr. Tiwari was there at that time in BPR industry. And by the time I left, so I was the member secretary of that committee. And then I left that. So you know that consultations were had, discuss, a lot of discussion has happened. And what I'm telling you that the prisoners' rights and correction work has been done by several NHRC is doing commendable work in that, and a lot of guidelines, advisories have been issued by the NHRC and the state human rights council. Medical support, medical is one of the gray area in the correctional administration or correctional justice. Many, that a study was done in the by NHRC, and I was in the also NHRC. That we have followed the report which were sent by the NHRC had issued the order in the beginning that any death in any kind of custodial institution, maybe police, prisons, juvenile, within 24 hours, SP and DM are responsible to send the report to the NHRC. On the basis of secondary report, an analysis was made, and it was found that around more than 78% of the deaths which are happening in prisons were due to tuberculosis, TB. Many prisoners were coming with that, and later on they were not getting adequate treatment, and the deaths were happening. So it was NHRC then devised a pro forma of medical examination, which was circulated to all the states. But implementation, we have to see that how that is being implemented. Another also in the correctional system, and I think this would be interesting to you all, and you can see that if you can contribute, being the teacher or such scholar. There is a board of visitors for every jail, central jail, district jail, sub jail, open jail, all kinds of jails, women jails. There are two kinds of visitors. One is the official visitors, the government officers from the department, health, PWD, this, several industry. But there are also people from the society, those who want to work for the welfare of the prisoners. If you are a doctor, a teacher, if you are willing, then how you can be appointed as non-official visitor? Because if you will, district magistrate is preparing the panel. So we have to be proactive. First thing, we should know under which clause of the prison manual this provision is there. And then people can approach the district magistrate with their CV that I am willing to work for the prisoner's rights, medical field or whatever, education or any vocational kind of training, whatever you can contribute. You can get the opportunity to become the non-official visitor for the state government later on appoints, and they have the powers. They can visit the prison, and they are supposed to write their comments, and the government is supposed to, jail department is supposed to give them the ATR, action taken report, what action they have taken. So this is a video for the community people. This is the correctional justice, that how we as a community people can also contribute for the betterment of the prisoners or the prison administration. Education we can take, medical field we can take, vocational education we can take. So all these are the using windows which could be take away from this session to us. And then, like juvenile justice, juvenile institutions are also having the various kind of, these provisions. Board of Visitors is also there. Even in one judgment, the Supreme Court has also said that the police station should also have the Board of Visitors, so that there should be some checks and balance from the community. Just a minute, hold on. I think someone is there. Just a minute. Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You are audible.
So in Juvenile Justice Board also, there is a juvenile justice institution also. There is such kind of mechanism which is there. And finally, the committee was set up by the Supreme Court of India under Justice Amita Roy to study the prison system again. So what I would like to tell you that there are several, mechanisms, several committees have been set up how to improve the prisoners' rights. And prisoners' rights, as I was telling you, all rights the prisoners are having except the free movement, right? Right to be lodged appropriately based on proper classification, the special right of young prisoners to be segregated from adult prisoners, rights of women prisoners, right to health, right to bail, speedy trial, free legal aid, right to have interview with one's lawyer, right against being detained for more than period of the sentence imposed by the court, right to protection against being forced into sexual activities, rights against arbitrary use of handcuffs and fetters, rights against torture. So all right, there's a long list of these rights. So therefore, when we are saying the institutional correction means how we can have various kind of programs in the prisons, various kind of jails. And when we are saying non-institutional correction, I would like to have some questions from you. Community service, you may have heard. In some cases, in Sanjeev Nanda, there was a case which has gone up to the Supreme Court. Sanjeev Nanda case, in which Sanjeev Nanda, you see, he was the grandson of the former naval chief. And BMW case, which is called generally. In Delhi, around 10, 12 years back, some slavers, they were sleeping on the footpaths because they were supposed to train from Nizamuddin station near Lodi Road. They were just there, and there was a foggy season weather, the winter weather. And the BMW, this fellow, he ran through the 6-7 people, they died. He could not see them due to fog. And later on, this case went up to Supreme Court. Even this was also said, oh, that was not the BMW, rather that was the truck. A lot of twists were there in the matter. And finally, the sentence was given off because community service, because he has already spent some period of, in the prison. So likewise, when we say correction, means what are the challenges in the correctional justice? First thing, the overcrowding in the prison. You may have heard that prisons are overcrowded in our country. And due to overcrowding, many facilities which are supposed to be given to them, for example, accommodation, if you see the barracks, some of the barracks, the prisoners are not able to sleep in some of the jail because of overcrowding. Some of them are compelled to sleep before in front of the toilets, which are not always so clean, dirty. So how to diversify? So one is how to reduce the overcrowding. One could be how to tackle the under trial cases, and also they can be given bail. Now Supreme Court is also emphasizing very forcefully that bail should be given. Even the personal bond, the prisoners, those who have not committed heinous crime, can be released on personal bond, on bail. Then open jail. Unfortunately, correctional institution, we are saying, central jails are overcrowded, but the open jail, the adequate number, which is sanctioned strength of prisoner, is not there. So these are having space. Why the governments are not transferring? This is the issue for further discussion. I don't have time for that. But how we can diversify the prison population to different kind of ways, like open jail, premature release, probation. Why everybody should be sent to the jail? Why not the probation should be used? Probation in our country, although we have a separate law, Probation Offenders Act, 1958. Which is not being used properly, underused. And community service, like the traffic violators and others, why not they can be sent to the old age home or some kind of other places where they can work for the betterment of the people in the hospitals to serve the patients. They can be sent to other kind of senior citizen home. They can go there. They can do something, some kind of service to them. They can be those who are educated. They can be sent to the say slum areas and the areas where children are not going to school dropout children. How to teach them anything which can be useful to the society. There those kind of community service. So we do not have that kind of provision in the law. In bits and pieces, the courts have given direction regarding that. Legal aid, another challenge in the correctional justice. That the legal aid, the free legal aid which is being provided, many times it is said it is not of that quality. And therefore, those who can afford justice, in our country is very, very costly affair. For the poor, it is impossible and difficult to get the justice because the legal aid in many times is not of that quality. Vocational training. The vocational training should be linked to the rehabilitation program. How the prisons can be, they can reorganize their training program, vocational education. Like for example, if you, in many old jail, if you will see, weaving, they are giving the training in weaving, mills वगैरह. आज की तारीख में कौन करेगा weaving? किसको पढ़ा? But now in many prisons they have also modernized. They are giving training in the computer, how to repair the mobile, and driving, and many kind of horticulture, new techniques, how to improve the horticulture field, agriculture. So those kind of vocational education, and in the prisons, I'll tell you, from the state government, all resources of the state government should be linked to the prisons. Because prison need not to have a separate kind of system for this. All departments of the state government, central government should be linked with the like Kaushal Vikas program of the government of India. State government should be linked to this. ITIs should be linked to the prison, and some IITs, ITIs are linked to the prisons. So the quality of vocational education can be improved, which could be helpful to the prisoners when they are being released from the jail in their proper rehabilitation. Prison subculture is another area. Prison subculture, I'll tell you, prison also have all kind of vices, drug addiction, everything which is happening outside you will find in jail. Mobile, you may be reading in the newspaper or electronic media. Although mobile jammers are there, but some of the prisoners are using mobile. Some of the prisoners are running gangs from the inside the jail due to corruption. That's all. Nothing more than that. Prison violence. Prison also is having the violence culture. There is also sometimes in connivance with the prison officers, or sometimes the violent groups within the prison. Corruption is another issue, which is everywhere, not in the jail. Prison personnel is another area. Who are these people? Where do they come from? Many of my classmates, my juniors, seniors, they are in the jail department of Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh. And when I was talking to them and I talked to them, several issues, particularly up to the lower level, the constabulary, what are their problems? What is their salary structure? What is the training? Perks? These all are the issues when we talk about correctional justice. Then human resource management, how they are being recruited, the training, career advancement, accountability of the correctional officials. What is, because prisoners are having rights. What kind of accountability they have? Role of prison visitors, as I told you. Aftercare, reintegration, rehabilitation of released prisoners. We should conduct the more studies on this, that the prisoners, those who are released from the jail, to what extent the correctional programs of the jails or the training which is being imparted to them, to what extent this kind of training is successful in the prisoner's life. How, what percentage of prisoners are being rehabilitated and reintegrated, or if not, what kind of challenges or problems they are facing. Then prison to be open for public visits. Public partnership is required. You know, prison is considered as a very, very segregated kind of place. Even when we were studying in schools, we were said कि भाई वो तो जेल के पास से नहीं जाके दूसरे रोड से जाते थे. फिर जेल है और कहीं भी वहां से अरे तो जेल है. Means prisons are so neglected by the ordinary people also. People feel perhaps the most dangerous people are those in the prison. But if you will analyze objectively, you will find many more dangerous people are roaming in the open society rather than in the prisons. But anyway, I am not saying that prisons are always having the scent there. But prisons are also having several dangerous prisoners. But this should be open to the public scrutiny, because ultimately, when, like in some of the European countries, it has been said, the experiment is done that the director of prison services was made some professor, and then they have brought a lot of reforms in the system. So you know that, like the children, school children, 10+2, they were in the open public. They were allowed to go to the jail for certain period. They can see what is the prison, who are the prisoners. They can talk to the prisoners. So that tomorrow, you know, prison reform in our country, politically or bureaucratically, it is neglected. Neither people want any prison reform. Society is not interested much. Neither government is interested, nor the political system is interested. So prisons are the prisoners are prisons are nowhere, no person's land. Nobody has any interest. If you talk, go to the open society, talk to the people. The prisoner को ज़्यादा अधिकार मिलना चाहिए, उनको पंखे लगना चाहिए. लोग कहेंगे यहाँ लोग भूखों मर रहे हैं, फुटपाथ पर घूम रहे हैं, कितने लोग को खाना नहीं मिल रहा है, कितने को रहने को नहीं है. You are asking for the prisoners' rights, those who have violated others' rights. So you know, this is the debate of regarding human rights when we talk. But human rights framework is that human being, human life should be given respect and optimum use of probation, parole, and community service. As I said, that how to reduce the prison population, that is most important area, because everybody should not be sent to the jail, so that we can have better correctional programs there. And the whole purpose today, as on date, the sentencing policy in our country is that the reformation and rehabilitation until now is in some kind of heinous cases where people are habitual offenders or people are committing the organized crime, terrorism related activity. Those who are the criminal by chance, they should be given an opportunity to be corrected, to be reformed, and to be resettled in the society once they are released from the jail. So I think I'll stop here. And I'm sure that the participants may be having some queries or questions. I'll welcome any question or any information. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for wonderful sessions. We received one question from the Bhagyashri. Sir, can I proceed?
Yeah, please go ahead. Go ahead.
What's the criteria for shifting prisoners to open jail?
Yeah, you know, there is a provision in the jail manual. First is, it varies from state to state. You know, first the prisoner should be the long-term prisoner. The under trial cannot be set. You know, the basic difference between under trial and the prisoner is, under trial means whose trial is going on in the court of law. Those who are not punished yet. Okay, so like under trial cannot be said, number one. Among the convicted prisoners, those who are convicted, those who have been convicted, I told you in this special category, economic crime, white collar crime, terrorist activity, NDPS related crime, they are not eligible. The prisoners, those who are mostly the murderers or those who are having long term due to the criminogenic situation, and those who have still family ties with them, family relations with them, and also those who have spent more than half of their actual sentence. So for example, if somebody is being convicted for the life, as I told you, generally, for each topic which I am telling you could be 2-3 hours discussion. Okay, so life sentence in our country is generally calculated 20 years. So if somebody has spent around 8 to 10 years, would be eligible to vote. But state-wise, there is a variation in the rules. And those who are willing, of course, if the prisoners are willing to vote, then they can be considered by a committee. And the verification is done from their respective police stations, etc. So that, and before that, the person should have availed once or twice the parole, means the home leave, and person would have come back without any kind of struggle, any kind of problem, or any kind of further violation of law during the parole. So that's the thing I'll tell you. This is again neglected area. Like now you tell me in the political debate or in the political manifesto, party manifesto, when they are fighting election, every party will say, हमें अपराध को कम करना है, अपराधियों को दंडित करना है. And all political party leaders, irrespective from any party, they will say हमें पूरा न्याय व्यवस्था में विश्वास है. क्योंकि इतना डिले है कि जब तक कोर्ट से डिसीजन होगा, perhaps they will enjoy the fruit of the power. And so, you know, that this delay in disposal of the case is the major problem. And prison reform or custodial reform or custodial justice, ये कहने में बहुत अच्छा लगता है. But nobody is seriously pursuing this except few. I mean, I'm not saying that nobody is doing, but many of the people are not interested. If you do survey, as I said, in the society, अब जहाँ पूछे कि भाई प्रिजनर्स हम के बारे में हम बात करना चाह रहे हैं, उनको कैसे अच्छा बनाया जाए, लोग कहेंगे आपको कोई और काम नहीं मिला, यही काम मिला है. अरे कुछ और काम करो भाई. जिनने ऑलरेडी क्राइम किया हुआ है, जो समाज के लिए खतरा है, आप उनके बारे में आप बात करने आए. This I am telling you, general perception. We should not be there. But you see, because prison is, they are considered like the social dustbin. Nobody bothers them. So therefore, the open jails have the different kind of rules. But no, you see, short-termers could be sent. No under trial can be sent. Women also in many states are not being sent because, but in Rajasthan, I'll tell you, if you have any opportunity to go to Rajasthan, please visit Sanganer. That is very close to Jaipur airport, around 20-25 kilometers from Jaipur city. Wonderful kind of experiments. And where, you know, the prisoners are living with their family, you will feel like you are in the open community. I mean, as we go in the villages, they go to the nearby community in their marriages. And, so they have the community relations very good. And from outside community also, the people do come in the open jail when there is any marriage function or something like this. Everything is happening inside the prisoners' colony, which is called the open. So we have different kind of model of open jail also in the country. Maharashtra also, we have like Atpadi. We have some jail in Maharashtra where prisoners are not staying with the families, but they are staying in the open jail. Pune has the open jail enclosure for women prisoners. So likewise, we have different models in different parts of it.
Dr. Anupam ma'am, you have a question? Yeah, ma'am.
Yeah, please unmute Anupma. Unmute yourself.
अनुपमा मैडम अनम्यूट होइए, अनम्यूट करिए मैडम.
While hearing your talk, it was a wonderful deliberation. I just have a question, like when the people who commit crime, maybe for a petty crime or a serious crime, and then I believe there is a program for rehabilitation. Would you think like their statistics, how many of them stop thinking about not committing crime again? Because recently, just 1 or 2 days back, there was a news, a child who was always pressurized by the parents ki padho, padhoge to acha banoge. But then he thought, how can he didn't want to study, तो अब मैं ऐसा क्या करूं कि मैं नहीं पढ़ूं, तो he decided कि I commit a crime, go to jail, वहां पढ़ना नहीं पड़ेगा. This was a very hot news for the last 1 or 2 days. So in such cases, I don't know if it's considered as a petty crime or a serious crime, but whatever. What do you think कि वहाँ पे कितना rehabilitate हो जाते हैं लोग that they don't commit the crime again? Maybe rape or maybe theft, maybe murder.
Now, you know that both kind of you see scenarios are there. Like one is the crime committed by the juvenile, you know, below 18 years of age. So now you know the you see, if you see the nature of juvenile delinquency, now that new term is there, children in conflict with law under the JJ Act 2015. So
The fast money, juvenile are after the fast money.
yeah. So you know that because that is within the our socio-cultural milieu in the society. You know, the maturity of the children is now increasing, and there is a, if you will see many these cases where the elopement is happening with the consent of the boy and girl of 17 years, 6 months, or something like this. Later on, the FIR is filed by the girl side, or this that this is a rape and an elopement and this that kidnapping. So what is happening? That both 2-3 kind of scenarios there. First I'll come to juvenile, then I'll come to adult. You know, this is ultimately overall society, societal structure, the criminogenic culture. If you see the current pattern and the legal reform after Nirvaya case in 2013 onwards, in the 2015 the reflection was there. So there is the general culture how to get the easy money. Okay, number one. Number two, means and goals. Goal has become the primary purpose. I want to achieve this within the shortest span of period. So those informal kind of you know the structure which was there. So what is happening now? Then some people, those who are committing crime because of these factors. But as you are saying, like the possibility or the data that the possibility for rehabilitation, you know, that some of the crimes like sexual assault on women, okay, or organized crime, barring these, you know, we cannot say that 100% prisoners, either juvenile or the adult, can be rehabilitated and they have the potential for correction. No, 100% I also don't have. But you know, if you will see the prison population, if you will visit the jails, if you will talk to the people, you know, I have got opportunity in several jails, central jails. When I spoke to even the hardened criminals, they said, now enough is enough. We want to live our life is spoiled, family life is spoiled. My children are, see, their career is spoiled. Now I have decided to lead a normal social life. So as I said in the beginning, the recidivism rate in our country is around 7%, roughly. So it is not that very high. That means the training, which is correctional training, which is being given in the prison, and the rehabilitation, because you know, many of the prisoners, those who have not lost the connectivity with their family life. For example, if you'll see like murderers, other than the professional murderers or the gang war or all those, majority of the murderers are coming from the rural areas or from the factors are behind this, that they have not committed murder because of any planning. This was so many of them are having already opportunity to be rehabilitated because their families are still there. They are welcome to them. But you know, like women prisoners, they are getting hardship. So around 80%, I will say that prisoners do have potential, but only the mismatch is there. And in also academia, we do not have more studies, evaluation studies and tech studies on this issue, that the training, correctional training, which is being imparted either in the juvenile homes, juvenile institutions, or in the adult prisons, what is being taught ultimately the prisoners are engaged in same kind of job training, or they are doing something else. For example, in the jail, if the carpentry training is given, or training is given in some kind of weaving. Now, person has come from the agriculture background. If you are giving that vocational education in agriculture related, how to advance the agriculture, how to use the technology in the, to improve the agricultural growth and development, perhaps that would be more useful to them. So we have to see that in many cases there is a mismatch, that the training which is being imparted to them, they are not doing that, they are doing something else. So, but the potential for rehabilitation in the success of correction, I will say in our country is quite high, and we can roughly say around 80% is there. There is some literature in which, but no much evaluation studies have been done. Actually, we need to work on this area, which is neglected. I'll tell you, criminology is neglected among the academicians, academic circles, and within criminology, the prison administration or the correctional justice is further neglected. Anyway, I think that's the debate for further discussion. Yes, please.
I have one question, sir.
Yeah, please.
Sir, now the Bekino Barno convicted prematurely released from the jail. Sir, it can consider as a correctional justice?
Of course. Yes. You know, two questions I'm just posing for us. I mean, broader question. Suppose if somebody has committed heinous crime, murder or rape or whatever, can we keep that person throughout the life in the jail and we feel that the person is being reformed? Or we can keep a person, give the training, evaluate their behavior in the jail, and if they have potential, you know, it is not that the person cannot be reformed. Even the heinous criminals have repented on their acts and then finally they were reformed. Valmiki, महर्षि वाल्मीकि की कहानी और भी कई हैं कि so it is not that so remission per se, although there is a lot of debate on this current scenario on Bilkis Bano case, but the purpose of remission is this: after evaluation by the team, that if the person is having potential to be reformed, you know, if you are keeping a person for 20 years, it is not the guarantee that the person will be reformed. Rather, the person will be getting more hardened criminal. Because if the prisoner is not having any hope for better future, the prisoner will say in the end of the day, fine, अगर मुझे criminal ही रहना है तो ठीक है, अब निकल के 20 साल बाद भी करके वो crime कर सकता है ना. So remission is a hardcore area in the correctional justice. Remission and premature release, but that should be done after due evaluation and the potential of the prisoner to be reformed, the parameters for reformation and his behavior during the parole period, if the person has not committed any further crime. So if we are not giving remission, if we are not considering premature release, to whom and how, that is the question. But if we are blankly, we are saying no remission, no premature release, then what is the correction? Then that means there is no need for correction. If you are giving sentence someone to the life sentence, there are some judgments in the heinous cases, Swami Siddhananda and annals, where the person, the Supreme Court has given the life sentence till natural life. So that means there is no scope for remission. Nowadays, there are several judgments from the apex court and even from the High Court also, that the life sentence for natural till natural life. So no scope for remission, because those were so heinous nature of crime, where scope for reformation and correction was ruled out. Because looking to the brutality of the case. So selectively in some cases it could be applied, but generally we cannot write away the remission provision and the premature release. That I guess we need to retain, But we need to use it very, very judiciously, so that the people, those who are really prepared to be released, they can.
Okay, sir. One more question, sir. After release, prisoners are being labeled by the society. It may provoke them to repeat their behavior. How you deal with that kind of situation?
Yeah. So, there is the provision in the jail manual for premature release, and therefore in society also, because like society also should be told that what is the prison, what are the correctional programs, because society feels only if a person has committed crime, the person is throughout the criminal, throughout the life. So we need to bring also, we have to liberalize the parole policies, and because at the time of the parole, when the prisoner will come to the home, his home, and during that time, how he or she will behave with the other people, that will also instill a sense of trust among the societal people, that no, although he may have committed crime, but now the person is being reformed. So, although there are several obstacles, that still the released prisoners are not welcome in the society. And here we have to work, the NGOs, the academia, and we have to spread the awareness about these systems. And also, we should say that although they have committed crime, but now, since they were in jail and they have improved their behavior, therefore they can also be considered as the other people, those who have not been jailed for any crime. So this is a little difficult area where where released prisoners are getting difficulty in rehabilitation. Where in these, the non-official visitors, NGOs, academia, role of media, I think is more important to bring these issues in the society and make people aware regarding this.
One more question, sir. At the present time, most of the prisoners have been released on the parole or probation with the completion of their rehabilitation program. Then why do they become a recidivist?
No, so everybody is not becoming recidivist. As I said you, maximum 7% are recidivism rate in our country. So everybody is not becoming recidivist. If you will see the US rate of US or all developed countries, it is very high in comparison to our country. So you know that every released prisoner is not becoming recidivist. If suppose 100 prisoners are being released, okay, after completion of their sentence, only 7 are committed crime again. So that means, everywhere there is the violation of the law. Any law, can you tell that any law is perfectly enforced? Every law is misused also, but that doesn't mean we should not have the law. We have to bring the, accountability mechanism. We have to bring the parameters where the misuse can be stopped. But we cannot just say, like dowry act or any act, dowry prohibition act or any act is there. We'll say, भाई dowry act होने के बावजूद भी dowry ली जाती है, तो dowry act की जरूरत क्या है? खत्म करो इसे, क्योंकि देने वाले राजी हैं, लेने वाले राजी हैं, मार्केट इज देयर, तो लॉ का क्या होगा? ऐसे ही लॉ, so any law cannot be perfect, but so far as the rehabilitation is concerned, this is a neglected area, as I told you, in our country, and we need to work a little bit. But one thing I'll tell you, that the correctional program, a lot of reformation is happening, and although there are some drawbacks in there, some challenges are there, but we cannot rule out that the correctional justice is not happening. And we have traveled a long journey during the last 75 years. And things are, many models are there, Tihar models, several models. In each state, there are many successful models relating to this. So we will say that, yes, this is happening, but there are aberrations in everything.
Sir, so I think all questions have been very well delivered.
Okay, done?
So, yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir, for wonderful session, sir. The participants are requested to join the second session of this
Okay then, thank you very much. I'll
Excuse
take
me,
leave.
Kamble sir.
And it is nice to
Yes, ma'am.
meet you all.
Please
And-
call Gautam sir for conclude the session. Or may I request Dr. MP Gautam to please conclude the session? Gautam sir.
Okay. I was very much very serious about to listen, Mr. Tiwari. As far as the concluded comments is concerned, after listening to such a excellent, very informative lecture, I don't think any remark is needed. However, our partner should know that he has discussed about the one of the vital elements of the criminal justice system, along with the police and court. Correction is very much significant in the jail administration. He has discussed about the corrections and especially institutional and non-institutional corrections. And as far as the non-institutional corrections are concerned, they include the parole and probation. It is very common. So, as far as the various aspects of jail administration is concerned, very nicely, Dr. Tiwari has given the details of all these things. And I was very much impressed with the explanation about the different kinds of jail, specifically central jail and what is the open jail. He has also discussed about the juvenile justice and juvenile delinquency. Lastly, a very important factor which Dr. Tiwari has raised, the accountability of the correctional officer. It is more important nowadays. He has also mentioned so many cases regarding the jail and its administration. I am very much thankful to Dr. Tiwari because he mentioned one of my guru, Dr. R.K. Tiwari, who was the chief forensic scientist. And at that time, I was there when, at the moment which you have told about there, he called me for a discussion when I was in the Chhattisgarh laboratory. And I am thankful to Tiwari that I could know about the Dr. S.C. Tiwari and Dr. M.Z. Khan, sir.
Sir, Professor S.C. Tiwari was also my guide, research guide.
Okay, he was the guide.
Under his PhD, under his supervision, I did my
That's
PhD.
why he always used to put your name before me. You are also from Sagar and Tiwari is doing this, Tiwari is doing this.
Yes.
I remember the CGO complex in Delhi. So I am very much thankful and I certainly hope that all the participants might have gone through the various aspects of the criminology. And my dear friend, don't think it is written in the book, the criminology is not considered as a science. I remember the statement of Professor Sutherland. It is a science 100%. What is the definition of science? A systematic study of any subject is a science. And as Dr. Tiwari, Arvind Tiwari has shown in the second or third slide, the procedure of scientifically based procedures for the reforms. So how it is not science? Every step in the reformation of the jail is scientific in nature. It includes the psychology, sociology, and there are so many factors. And I recall my memory, your senior, I think, Tiwari, Mr. Gupta, you talked about the Jeb Katra. He worked on that.
He was my junior, sir, K.K. Gupta.
मैं
था उस समय, sir, in the department. I
was
there
when he was jailer in the Ujjain, Madhya Pradesh, and Raipur, Chhattisgarh.
Yes.
So he called me to visit the jail, and I could get the chance to discuss about the prisoners. And so many surprising statements could I listen, how they are, as you have already mentioned about this. You have discussed about all these things. What is the psychology in jail and what is the psychology during the probation and this parole? What is the significance of open jail? You mentioned about the Pune. So actually the criminological aspects of our life, everywhere criminology is needed. You have remarked about the recognition of the criminology. No doubt, I know, I felt it. Without criminology knowledge, we cannot be supposed to be a well-known, well-citizen. We should know what is criminology, what are the various theories, what are the various schools of the criminology. I remember the Lombroso and Sutherland, especially I like Sutherland theory, which is based on the sociological aspects. Because you have already mentioned, the criminals are not born. And what Sutherland has said, Sutherland said that it is due to this sociology. हम कहाँ रहते हैं, किसके साथ रहते हैं, हम कैसा देखते हैं और फिर कैसा हम बिहेव करते हैं. Criminology is a very good subject, and that's why our this university has introduced this subject, and we have borrowed so many things from the Sagar University syllabus. Okay, so very much, I am very much thankful. And Anupma Rana Madam has also raised a very good question. So everybody took interest in this lecture. It was excellent, and we hope in future also you should also be connected with this university.
Definitely, sir. This is an honor for me, and pay back to something to back to my alma mater and my senior colleagues and you also. And I will be really happy if your university and department I am connected to. Anyway, I am in the board of studies and other ways.
No.
So, sir.
Dr. Rana is also associated and will be associated.
Yes.
In our with our department. So thank you very much for your.
Fine, sir. I'll take leave now, sir. Thank you very much, and thanks to all the participants for patient here. Thank you very much.
Ma'am.
Yes.
1:30 को announce.
Yeah.
The participants are requested to join the second session at sharp 1:30 with the same link.
Okay, we'll resume the session at sharp 1:30.
ये मैडम रिकॉर्डिंग पॉज कर दें.
Yes, करिए सर, पॉज कर दीजिए. ठीक.